The sky above Earth Station 9 was silent that morning. No alarms, no red lights, just the low hum of machines breathing in rhythm with the people who trusted them. Captain Mark Renn stood near the viewport, his eyes on the stars that shimmered like cold fire. For years, he had explored deep sectors of space, meeting strange worlds, but what came next was something no one was ready for. The peace treaty with the small alien colony on planet Zora had just begun. The Zorans were a tiny race, only 90 centimeters tall, fragile in bones but rich in wisdom. They looked delicate, with soft, glowing blue skin and eyes that shimmered like water under light. Mark's team was assigned to deliver new technology, medical scanners, atmosphere stabilizers, and a translator device. Nothing about this mission seemed dangerous, until the signal came. A red light blinked on the console. Then another. The radar screamed, a sound every soldier hated. An unknown fleet was approaching from the far side of the moon, moving fast. The peace mission instantly turned into chaos. Mark shouted commands. "Shields up! Get me visuals!" The main screen flashed with images of strange ships, long, spiked, and glowing with dark energy. They weren't Zoran ships. They were something else, machines built for war. "Sir, they're targeting the Zoran colony," a voice cried. Mark didn't hesitate. "Prep the shuttle." "We're going down!" The descent through the burning clouds was rough. The sky glowed red as plasma fire rained from orbit. He could see the tiny domes of the Zoran city below, bursting one after another. His heart pounded as he thought of the innocent beings he had met only days ago. So peaceful, so trusting. When he landed, the air was thick with smoke and static. The once bright crystal towers of Zora now lay broken. Mark stepped out, clutching his blaster, his boots sinking into ash. Then he heard it, a small cry. He turned, and there she was, a tiny blue figure, no taller than his knee, stumbling through the debris. Her breathing was shallow, her skin glowing faintly like a dying flame. She looked frightened, but still tried to stand tall. Mark ran to her, kneeling down. Her voice was soft and trembling. "Human, please, help. My people. They are burning." Mark carefully lifted her. Her body was hot, too hot, almost burning his hands. He didn't understand how she was alive at all. "I've got you," he said, his voice calm though his heart raced. "You'll be okay." Her eyes met his, glowing like melting ice. "No," she whispered, "I am not okay." "None of us are." "Something inside us is wrong." A tremor shook the ground. The sky roared again. Another blast hit nearby, throwing Mark off balance. He shielded the small alien with his body as debris rained down. His communicator crackled, his crew shouting that they were pulling back. But Mark couldn't leave. Not now. Not with this fragile creature trembling in his arms. He carried her to the broken ruins of a lab. The doors barely held together, but it was shelter. Inside, flickering lights revealed shattered equipment. Mark set her gently on a table and grabbed his scanner. "Stay with me," he said, pressing the device to her chest. The reading spiked into red immediately. Her internal temperature was rising far beyond safe limits. Her body was burning itself from within. It wasn't just fear, it was something biological. He checked again. The data made no sense. "You're overheating. Like your cells are on fire." She closed her eyes, tears forming like small glowing pearls. "We were attacked with energy that changes us. It heats our blood. We cannot survive it. My people, they call it the burning." Mark clenched his jaw. "Who did this?" Her lips trembled. "The Black Suns. They came from the void. They said our planet has something they need, our hearts, our light." The words chilled him. He'd heard rumors of a faction called the Black Suns, pirates, bioweapon smugglers, worse than mercenaries. But this was genocide. He looked down at the little alien. Her body trembled as she tried to sit up. "I must stop it," she whispered. "Before it spreads." "You need medical help," Mark said. She shook her head. "No human device can calm the heat. It is not sickness. It is death." Mark refused to believe that. He opened his survival kit, pulling out a small containment module, something used to stabilize radiation sickness. Maybe it could help regulate her temperature. He placed the device near her heart. A soft hum filled the room as blue light wrapped around her. She gasped, then relaxed slightly. Her glow softened. "It's working," Mark whispered. She opened her eyes slowly, her voice weak but steady. "Why, do you help us? You don't even know me." Mark looked at her and said quietly, "Because no one deserves to burn." Outside, explosions thundered again, but inside that broken lab, under the flickering lights, a fragile connection formed between two beings from different worlds, a human soldier and a dying alien girl, both fighting against the same impossible war. And somewhere, deep beneath the surface of planet Zora, something was awakening. The storm outside had not stopped. Each explosion shook the ground and filled the air with red dust. Captain Mark Renn worked quickly inside the broken lab, trying to stabilize the small alien girl lying weak on the table. The containment module glowed faintly around her chest, giving her a soft blue light that pulsed with every slow breath. Her name, she had whispered, was Lyra. Mark watched the scanner screen. Her body temperature was falling slowly, but her pulse remained weak. He could see pain on her small face. She was strong, trying not to cry, even though her skin looked as if it was burning from the inside. Mark's communicator crackled. "Captain Renn, the command ship is pulling back. The Black Suns have orbital control." He pressed his earpiece. "I can't leave yet. There's a survivor here. Sir, the colony is lost. I said I'm not leaving," he snapped. Silence followed, then static. Communication was gone. He sighed, turning back to Lyra. "Looks like it's just us now." She opened her eyes weakly, her voice faint. "You should not stay. They will find you." "Let them try," Mark said. "I've seen worse." Her lips curved slightly, like she wanted to smile but couldn't. "Humans, always pretending to be brave," he smirked. "We don't pretend. We survive." He looked around for anything that could help. The lab was filled with strange technology, half human, half Zoran design. Glowing vines covered the walls like living wires. He tried connecting the translator pad again, hoping it could decode some of the alien data from the broken terminals. The screen flickered, showing fragments of words in both languages. It read, "Core temperature rising. Planetary heart unstable. Energy infection spreading," Mark frowned. "Energy infection? What does that mean?" Lyra's eyes fluttered open again. "Our planet has a heart, a living energy source. The Black Suns hit it with their weapon. Now the heart burns, and so do we. You're saying the planet itself is alive?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, it gives us life. When it burns, we burn." Mark stared at her, trying to understand the impossible. If what she said was true, this wasn't just an attack. It was something far worse, an extinction event. Suddenly, the walls trembled. Dust rained from the ceiling. A heavy blast hit the mountain outside, shaking the lab. Mark ran to the entrance and peeked out. He saw dark shapes moving through the smoke, Black Sun soldiers in heavy armor, scanning the ruins. They were searching for survivors. He quickly closed the door and powered down the lights. The room fell into shadows, lit only by Lyra's soft glow. She watched him, her eyes full of quiet fear. "They're here, aren't they?" she whispered. "Yes," he said. "But they won't get you." She tried to sit up. "You don't understand. They don't want to kill me. They want what's inside me." Mark stared at her. "Inside you?" She nodded. "The Zorans. We share the same energy as our planet. A piece of its heart beats inside us. If they take it, they can control the burning. They can use it as a weapon." Mark's stomach turned cold. "That's why they're here." She looked away, whispering, "That's why I can't live." "If they catch me, they'll use me to destroy others." Mark shook his head. "No, you're not dying here. Not while I'm breathing." He grabbed his rifle and checked the energy cell. Only half full. He took out a pulse grenade and slid it into his belt. "We're getting out of here!" Lyra blinked at him, confused. "You can't fight them. You're one human." He smiled faintly. "One human is enough." He lifted her gently into his arms. Her small hand clutched his sleeve as they moved quietly through the lab's back tunnels. The light from her body dimmed, her breathing uneven, but she stayed awake, guiding him with weak gestures. "This way," she whispered. "Old escape shaft. Leads to the canyon." He followed her directions, the narrow tunnel glowing faintly from strange crystals in the walls. Each step echoed softly. The sound of explosions grew distant, replaced by the hum of the living planet under their feet. Then he heard metal footsteps behind them. "Stop," a harsh mechanical voice ordered. Red lights flashed down the corridor. Black Sun soldiers had found the tunnel. Mark ran. The tunnel shook as plasma shots burned into the walls. He shielded Lyra as debris rained down. The exit ahead was half collapsed, but he didn't slow down. He kicked the last barrier open and dived through, rolling onto the rocky slope outside. The canyon stretched before them, glowing rivers of blue energy cutting through the dark terrain. The planet looked alive, pulsing, breathing, but far away the sky burned orange where the war still raged. Mark placed Lyra behind a rock and threw a grenade into the tunnel. The explosion sealed the entrance with fire and dust. Silence followed, except for the low hum of the living world around them. He sat down, breathing hard. Lyra leaned weakly against his arm, her small body trembling. "You saved me again," she said softly. Mark looked at her, his expression hard but gentle. "No, not yet. But I will." She closed her eyes, whispering, "Then maybe there is hope." He glanced at the horizon where dark ships floated like shadows against the burning sky. Hope, he thought, was a dangerous thing out here, but he still held on to it. The night on planet Zora never truly became dark. The land glowed with soft blue veins of energy that ran through the ground like blood beneath skin. Mark and Lyra moved carefully along the canyon floor, their shadows stretching long and thin under the glowing rivers. The air was heavy and warm, pulsing like it was alive. Lyra's small body leaned weakly against Mark's arm as they walked. Her skin still shimmered faintly, but the heat from before had faded. She looked fragile, her eyes tired but watchful. "Are you sure this path leads to safety?" Mark asked quietly. She nodded. "To the heart caves. The old ones built them when our world was new. It is where the planet breathes." Mark frowned. "You mean the core? The energy source you mentioned?" "Yes," she said softly. "The heart is beneath the ground. If the burning came from there, maybe we can stop it." He didn't like the sound of it. The deeper they went, the stranger the world felt. The canyon walls began to glow brighter. Strange plants grew from cracks in the rock, thin, transparent vines that whispered when touched by wind. The ground trembled occasionally, like the heartbeat of something huge and unseen. They finally reached a narrow opening in the rock. Lyra pressed her small hand to the surface, and the stone shifted, opening like a living gate. Warm light spilled out. Mark stepped inside, his eyes widening. The cave was vast, glowing with moving patterns of blue light that flowed like water through crystal walls. Floating stones drifted slowly in the air, held by invisible energy currents. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "This is it," Lyra whispered. "The heart's path." Mark looked around in awe. "Your planet, it's alive." "Yes," she said. "Every breath, every drop of water comes from the heart, but now it is sick." They moved deeper. The temperature rose with each step. Mark could feel the vibration under his boots, growing stronger. In the distance, a faint sound echoed, like a slow, deep pulse. Suddenly, Lyra stumbled. Mark caught her before she fell. Her body was shaking again, the heat returning to her skin. "It's too close," she whispered, her voice trembling. "The heart feels me." "It calls me." "What do you mean?" he asked, kneeling beside her. "Our kind is linked to it. The closer we are, the stronger it pulls. If the heart is burning, so will I." Mark's mind raced. He couldn't let her die now, not after everything they had survived. There must be a way to stop the pull. She looked up at him, her eyes full of pain. "You cannot stop what is alive. You can only calm it." He thought for a moment. The containment module had helped before. It cooled her energy by creating balance. Maybe if he could connect it directly to the heart, it could stabilize the whole system. "I might have an idea," he said, checking his pack. "But I'll need to reach the core itself." Lyra looked alarmed. "You cannot go there alone. The heart's light burns stronger than any sun. It can kill you." Mark smiled slightly. "Guess we'll find out." They continued walking until the tunnel opened into a massive chamber. In the center floated a colossal sphere of glowing energy, white and blue, pulsing like a star trapped underground. Streams of light shot from it, running through the walls like veins. It was breathtaking. It was alive, but surrounding it were shadows, black figures moving slowly, their armor reflecting the light. Black Sun soldiers. They were already here. Mark pulled Lyra behind a rock. He counted at least 6 of them. Each carried heavy plasma rifles and scanning devices. They were placing strange rods into the ground, connecting them to the Heart's light. "They're draining it," Mark whispered. "They're stealing your planet's life." Lyra's expression hardened. "If they take too much, the Heart will break. Everything will die." Mark gripped his blaster. "Then we stop them." He aimed carefully and fired. The shot hit the nearest soldier's pack, exploding into sparks. The others shouted, returning fire. The chamber erupted in flashes of red and blue. Energy bolts cracked against stone, lighting the air like lightning. Mark moved fast, diving from cover to cover. He was outnumbered but determined. Each shot he took hit with precision. Lyra used her own energy, her hands glowing as she sent small waves of force that pushed enemies back. But the soldiers were strong. One of them threw a grenade that exploded too close. Mark fell, ears ringing. When he looked up, he saw Lyra standing in the open, her small body glowing brighter than ever before. She raised her arms and a surge of blue light burst from her, sweeping through the chamber. The Black Suns were thrown back, their weapons melting in their hands. The Heart pulsed wildly in response, the entire cave trembling. "Lyra, stop!" Mark shouted. "You'll burn yourself out!" She didn't answer. Her glow was blinding now, her body shaking uncontrollably. He ran to her and grabbed her hand. "You're not doing this alone!" He pulled the containment module from his belt and pressed it against her chest. It glowed, then connected with her energy, spreading through the air like ripples in water. The wild light began to calm. The Heart slowed its pulsing, its color softening from white-hot to deep blue. The shaking stopped. Lyra collapsed into Mark's arms, breathing weakly. Her voice was barely a whisper. "You did it! You calmed the Heart." Mark looked at the chamber around them, the glow fading into a peaceful rhythm. The Black Suns were gone, scattered or dead. For the first time since the attack, silence filled the air. But deep down, he knew this wasn't the end. The Heart had stopped burning. For now. And somewhere beyond the caves, the rest of the Black Sun fleet was still out there, watching, waiting. The cave was finally quiet again. The blue glow of the planet's heart flickered softly like a sleeping pulse. Mark sat beside Lyra, holding her small hand. Her skin was still warm, but no longer burning. She breathed slowly, her face peaceful. For the first time since landing on Zora, he felt hope. But hope never lasted long in war. A metallic echo filled the chamber, slow, heavy footsteps. Mark stood quickly, aiming his blaster toward the sound. From the shadows emerged a tall figure in black armor. The visor glowed red, and the air around him seemed to bend with heat. This was not a regular soldier. This was their leader, Captain Mark Renn, the voice said through a modulated growl. "You make quite a mess for one human." Mark's grip tightened. "Who the hell are you?" The armored figure stepped closer, stopping beside the broken edge of the Heart's platform. "I am Commander Vrax of the Black Suns. You've damaged something you cannot begin to understand." Mark aimed higher. "Looks like you're the one doing the damage." Vrax tilted his head slightly. "You think you're saving her," he said, gesturing at Lyra. "But she is the weapon, Captain. The Zoran Heart lives through her kind. That makes her dangerous." Mark frowned. "She's just a girl," the commander's voice deepened. "No, she's a creation. A hybrid made from your own people's technology." Mark froze. "What?" Vrax smiled beneath his mask. "Didn't they tell you? Years ago, your Federation tested fusion biotech on captured alien DNA. They built the first Life Seed project, an experiment to merge human resilience with Zoran energy. It failed. Or so they thought." Mark felt the air leave his chest. He looked at Lyra, small and fragile, glowing faintly against the cold floor. "You're lying, am I?" Vrax asked. "Your medical scanner carries the same signature as her heartbeat. The same frequency. The same code." Mark's mind raced. The containment module, the same device he used to save her, it was built by the Federation. Could it really be connected? She was not born, Vrax continued. She was made. Her energy is linked to the human core you carry in that device. That's why she responds to you. Lyra stirred weakly, her eyes half open. Mark, don't listen to him. Vrax took another step forward. You feel it, don't you? When she burns, you feel it too. You think it's compassion, but it's connection. You are both parts of the same weapon. Mark's hand trembled slightly, but he didn't lower his gun. If that's true, then why kill her? Because she is unstable, Vrax said coldly. If her energy fuses completely, it will ignite the heart and destroy this planet. That's what your people wanted, a power that could erase worlds. But we want to control it. Mark's pulse pounded in his ears. You're insane. Perhaps, Vrax said, raising his hand. But tell me, human, how long can you hold her before she burns again? The ground suddenly shook. The heart pulsed brighter and Lyra gasped in pain. Her body began to glow more intensely. Mark rushed to her side, holding her close. Stay with me, Lyra. Her small voice trembled. He's right. I can feel it again. The heart! It's waking! Mark looked around in panic. The blue light of the chamber turned white, blinding and hot. Energy arcs danced across the floor. Vrax's armor glimmered under the light as he raised a black cube in his hand. This device will take her energy and contain it, Vrax said. She will survive, but her planet will die. Choose, Captain. The girl or the world, Mark's teeth clenched. You think I'll let you decide that? He fired. The blaster bolt hit Vrax's shoulder, throwing him back. The cube fell and shattered, spilling dark smoke across the floor. The chamber roared as the heart flared brighter. Energy poured from Lyra's body into the air like ribbons of light. She screamed softly, her voice breaking. Mark, it hurts! He held her tighter. I've got you. Don't give up. But the more he tried to stabilize her, the more his own body ached. His scanner blinked red, showing strange readings, his own heartbeat syncing with hers. He felt the same heat spreading through his chest, the same burning. Vrax rose again, one arm damaged but still moving. You see? You're connected, human. You'll burn with her. Mark looked at Lyra, her glowing eyes full of pain and trust. If that's what it takes, he said, his voice steady, then we burn together. He placed the containment module directly between them. The blue and red lights fused into one, forming a bright sphere that pulsed with both of their heartbeats. The heart's wild energy began to stabilize again. The walls stopped trembling. The heat faded. Vrax stumbled back, shielding his visor. No, impossible. You're merging the frequencies! The sphere exploded with light, throwing him across the chamber. When the flash faded, the commander was gone, vanished into darkness. The air was calm again. The planet was alive, breathing slowly, quietly. Mark held Lyra in his arms. Her body was cool now, her breathing soft and steady. The faint glow around her had become gentle and peaceful. She looked up at him weakly. You saved me again, he smiled faintly. No, we saved each other. For a moment, the universe was quiet. But deep inside the heart, something shifted, a pulse of unfamiliar energy, faint but growing. The connection between them was not fading. It was becoming something new. When Mark opened his eyes, everything was silent. The chamber around him shimmered softly, its light no longer blinding but calm and steady. The Heart of Zora pulsed gently, like it was breathing again after a long sleep. He lay on the smooth stone floor, his body aching. The containment module beside him was cracked open, its light fading slowly. He could still feel a faint warmth in his chest, as if part of that glowing energy still lived inside him. Lyra? He whispered. A soft voice answered. I'm here. He turned and saw her standing a few feet away. She looked different now. Her blue glow was softer, her movements graceful and calm. The heat that once burned her was gone. But something in her eyes had changed. Deeper, older, almost human. Mark sat up slowly. You're okay, she smiled gently. More than okay. The heart is calm now. It sleeps again. He looked around the chamber. The veins of energy that once ran wild through the walls were steady and bright, flowing in rhythm with a quiet hum. The planet felt alive, peaceful. But deep inside, Mark sensed that something had changed between him and her. Something invisible but powerful. "What happened to me?" he asked quietly. Lyra looked at him for a long moment. "You shared your core with me," she said softly. "Your device connected us. Your heart and mine are one now." He touched his chest, feeling the faint pulse under his palm. "So that connection Vrax talked about, it's real?" "Yes," she said. "But it's not a weapon anymore. It's something new. The heart recognizes you now. It sees you as part of this world." Mark didn't know what to say. He had fought wars, faced alien monsters, lost good people, but never felt this strange. Living bond that tied him to another being and an entire planet at once. Lyra stepped closer, her small hand resting against his arm. "You saved my people even when you thought you couldn't. The heart remembers kindness." Mark looked down at her. Then maybe there's still a chance to rebuild. But peace never stayed long in the galaxy. A distant rumble echoed from above. The ground trembled slightly. The blue veins of light flickered. Lyra's smile faded. "They've returned," she whispered. Mark stood immediately. "The Black Suns." She nodded. "Vrax may have fallen, but the others still want the heart's power. They will destroy everything to take it." He clenched his fists. "Then we stop them." Lyra looked up at him, her expression calm yet strong. "You cannot fight them as before. They will come with more ships, more weapons. But now we have something they don't." "What's that?" She took a deep breath. "The heart listens to us." Before Mark could reply, the ground beneath them glowed brighter. Streams of light rose from the floor, circling around Lyra like ribbons. She closed her eyes, her voice soft but powerful. "It speaks to me now. It remembers every wound, every fire. It can protect itself." Mark stepped back as the air shimmered. The walls of the cave began to shift, forming glowing patterns like veins of energy moving through a living body. The entire cavern seemed to awaken. The planet was responding to her words. "Lyra, what are you doing?" Mark asked, shielding his eyes. Her voice echoed, calm and strong. "Calling the planet's guardians." From the deep tunnels, massive shapes began to move. Stone and light fused into towering figures, ancient constructs shaped like giant warriors made of crystal and rock. Their eyes glowed with the same blue fire as the heart. Mark stared in disbelief. "You've got to be kidding me!" "They were created long ago to defend the heart," Lyra explained, her voice distant, almost connected to something greater. "But they only wake when the heart chooses a protector." He looked at her. "And now, that's you," she nodded. "And you." The ground shook again as a deafening sound filled the chamber, a signal from above. The Black Suns were descending. Mark could hear the roar of their engines through the rock. He gripped his rifle, though he knew it wouldn't be enough. Lyra looked at him, her expression calm. "You don't need that anymore." "What do you mean?" "Your weapon is inside you now," she said softly. "The heart's light flows through your veins." Mark felt a strange hum in his chest, like his heartbeat carried a pulse of energy. He looked at his hands and saw faint blue light beneath his skin. He shook his head. "You've got to be kidding me," Lyra smiled. "You said one human is enough." "Let's prove it." The cave roof cracked open above them as the first wave of Black Sun dropships entered the atmosphere. Fire rained down, shaking the ground. The giant stone guardians turned their heads toward the sky. Ready. Mark took a deep breath, feeling the energy inside him respond to his will. The blue light surged brighter. He looked down at Lyra, her small figure standing tall and fearless beside him. "Ready?" he asked. She nodded once. "Always." The light from the heart burst outward, racing through the tunnels, up the cliffs, and into the sky. When the Black Sun fleet appeared overhead, they found themselves facing a storm of glowing energy that seemed alive. The planet was defending itself. Mark raised his hand, and a surge of light shot into the air, hitting the nearest ship. It exploded in a flash of blue fire. He felt no fear, only calm focus, like the heart itself guided his movements. Lyra's voice echoed beside him. "We are not just fighting for Zora. We are fighting for every world that breathes." The Guardians marched forward, their heavy steps shaking the canyon. The sky turned into a dance of light and thunder. For the first time, Mark understood. This wasn't just a rescue mission or a war. This was the birth of something new, human and alien, soldier and soul, united by the same heartbeat. The battle for Zora had begun. The sky burned blue. Everywhere above planet Zora, the Black Sun fleet fired down from orbit, their energy cannons shaking mountains. But this time, the planet fought back. From deep within its glowing heart, waves of pure light surged upward, guided by Lyra's will and Mark's new bond with the planet. Gigantic guardians of stone and crystal marched through the canyons, each strike of their arms tearing enemy ships from the sky. The air itself glowed, alive with energy. Mark stood at the edge of the battlefield, his armor scorched and torn, his chest still glowing faintly where the heart's power touched him. He felt every vibration of the planet through his blood. Every explosion, every scream, every heartbeat of Zora. Lyra stood beside him, her small figure calm amid chaos. Blue light shimmered from her body like a living flame. She no longer looked weak or afraid. She looked like the soul of the world itself. Mark pointed toward the sky. "They're breaking through the atmosphere!" Lyra closed her eyes, her voice soft but firm. "Then we rise to meet them." A column of light erupted beneath their feet, lifting them upward. The energy carried them high above the ground until they hovered among the clouds, facing the enormous warships that filled the horizon. For a moment, Mark could see the Black Sun flagship, a massive, dark vessel shaped like a blade, with glowing crimson symbols carved into its hull. It looked alive, pulsing with the same energy that once infected Zora's core. "That's their command ship," Mark said. "Vrax might be gone, but someone's still controlling them." Lyra nodded. "Then we end it here." As they floated closer, the ship's cannons turned toward them. The sky filled with light as plasma bolts tore through the air. Mark raised his arm instinctively, and a barrier of blue light burst outward, shielding them both. The bolts dissolved against it like sparks on water. He stared at his hand. "Did I just—" Lyra smiled faintly. "You're part of the heart now. It protects what you protect," Mark grinned. "Good. Let's show them what that means." He launched forward, a trail of blue light behind him. The flagship loomed larger and larger until he could see the soldiers on its decks, their armor glowing red. They fired again, but the blasts curved away from him as if the planet itself refused to let him fall. Lyra raised her arms, and the energy around her expanded into a storm. Her small figure burned bright against the dark sky. Streams of light from below, the veins of Zora, rose up to join her, weaving together in a vast spiral that connected her to the world. The flagship's hull began to crack. The sound was like thunder breaking apart the heavens. Inside the ship, alarms screamed. The dark metal began to melt under the pressure of the heart's energy. Mark landed on the ship's surface, gripping the glowing blade of his plasma cutter. "This ends now," he muttered. He plunged the blade into the ship's core. Energy erupted, lighting up the sky like a second sun. Lyra's voice echoed in his mind, clear, calm, and full of sorrow. "Mark, you must let go now." He looked up at her. She was floating higher, surrounded by streams of pure light. Her body was dissolving into energy, merging completely with the heart. "No," he shouted. "There has to be another way." She shook her head gently. "I was never meant to live long. I was born to heal this world. You gave me more time, more hope than I ever dreamed of." He reached for her, his voice breaking. "Lyra, please." Her small hand touched his cheek, glowing softly. "Don't be sad. Part of me will always live in you. Our hearts are one." The light from her hand spread through him, warm, peaceful, infinite. Then she was gone. The explosion that followed tore through the sky, wiping out the Black Sun fleet in a wave of pure blue energy. When the light faded, the clouds parted, and the world below shone brighter than ever before. The fires were gone. The land was calm. The war was over. Mark fell back to the surface, landing among the ruins of the battlefield. The air was clean. The rivers of light that ran through the ground pulsed slowly, peacefully. He felt her heartbeat still, faint, but there. He looked up at the glowing sky. "You did it, Lyra," he whispered. "You saved them all." A small breeze brushed past him, carrying a soft voice that only he could hear. "No, Mark, we did." He smiled. As he walked toward the horizon, the ground beneath his boots glowed faintly with each step, as if the planet itself recognized its new guardian. The soldier who came to destroy had become the man who healed a world, and far above, among the stars, a faint blue light drifted, watching over him forever.